안녕하세요. 컴업 2023 두 번째 날 키노트와 퓨처 토크 진행을 맡게 된 이상은입니다. 반갑습니다. 여러분은 글로벌 시장으로 진출해야 한다면 어디를 가장 먼저 생각하시나요? 오늘의 시작은 비바 테크놀로지의 치프 이코시스템 오피서인 올리비아 헨리님의 키노트를 포문으로 열어주시겠습니다. 넥스트 글로벌 스타트업 허브 유럽을 주목해야 할 이유라는 주제로 코리아 스타트업 포럼 최지영 본부장님께서 파이어사이드 챗 형식으로 이야기를 나눠보겠습니다. 통역이 필요하신 분은 리시버를 준비해 주시기 바랍니다. 한국어 채널은 3번, 영어 채널은 4번입니다. 큰 박수로 환영해 주시기 바랍니다.
Alright, good morning everyone. So nice to meet you guys all here. So I'm very honored here today to be a moderator for such an important session. And so welcome Seoul, welcome to Seoul. So Olivia, so maybe you can start with your self-introduction first.
Yes, and first, 안녕하세요, bonjour, and hello, and I'm super happy to be here, and it's such a great honor. You know, thank you so much for the invitation. That's my first time in Korea, and I love it already, and I was really excited to come here, and I guess, you know, I'm gonna leave Korea in a few days with already some new friends. So yes, thanks to your warm welcome.
Thank you very much. So by the way, my name is Choi from Korea Startup Forum, and I'm taking my role as the executive director of COMEUP, and I'm also very happy to have all of these really great guys yesterday, today, even until tomorrow. And actually, this session is going to touch upon the European market, because mostly when you think about the global market, the globalization strategy, and a lot of people think about Silicon Valley and the US. Of course, the US market is super big, and also China as well. But I mean, the European market also very, I think, really attractive in terms of expansion to all different cultural background, also in the African continent, also the Middle East, and also European countries are really diverse as well. So we'd like to explore further into what the European market can provide, and why the European market is important, what kind of good things and bad things, not bad things, but the pros and cons. And so especially we have the Olivia from VIVA Technology, which is one of the biggest startup events, not just in Europe, but also globally. So maybe she can share a lot of insights with us about why we have to pay attention to European market, not just in France, but also some, of course, why not Italy and Germany, etc. All right. So firstly, my question is, actually Slush or Web Summit, like the Viva Technology, etc., so major global startup events actually take place in Europe, right? Yeah. Of course, we have like TechCrunch, like in a coalition in Canada. TechCrunch is the US. But I mean, Slush is actually really startup-led event, and which is taking place in Finland every year. And also global accelerating space like Station F, also it's in Paris. It's the biggest acceleration space. I don't know how many of you guys have visited there, but it's super big, and then a lot of dynamics, and then a lot of innovative startups are really incubated in this system. And also Level 39 in London, etc. So basically, they are really leading the global startup scene and also boosting innovation. So, but the European market is still not very well known to the Korean startup ecosystem players. So could you tell us what are the good things about the European market, especially for startups?
Yes, so actually Europe is one of the biggest markets with like more than 700 million of people, residents. And also Europe is one of the most powerful economic regions in the world. The GDP is high, the revenue per habitant is quite high also. Of course, as you can imagine, the use of technology is one of the highest. We also have like a great tech hubs, of course Paris, but also London, Berlin, Stockholm. Those tech hubs are known as a thriving startup ecosystem that offers startups great resources to scale up and grow, and also, of course, investments, talents. So it's but needless to say that, Europe is definitely a key market that you should consider. Sorry, you should consider. And I'm also thinking about all the global corporates, large corporate groups who are present in Europe, who are really keen to innovate together with startups. So meaning that, they have great open innovation strategies, and they really think that they will be able to innovate only, by signing a partnership with startups, and not only at local level. They are really thinking to build partnerships with at global level with also foreign startups. So this is also one point you should consider if you think about Europe. And something else also I was thinking is the fact that Europe has definitely a strategic location in the world. There is all those countries forming Europe, but also that can be a good a strategic entry point to nearby markets such as Africa or also the Middle East. And if you succeed in Europe, I will say that you will gain a valuable experience that will help you with your global expansion. Because think of it: if you enter the European markets, that means going in different countries with different cultural specificities, regulations. So if you are able to manage that, I really think that you are ready for global expansion. So for Korean startups in the room today, you should definitely think about going to Europe. And actually, every year at VivaTech, we have like so many international startups coming. This year again, we had more than 40 national delegations coming to VivaTech. Also more than nearly 3,000 investors coming from different parts of the globe and thinking funding opportunities during VivaTech. And also big players from the Silicon Valley come to VivaTech because they think Europe is a key market, and they consider VivaTech as a one-stop shop destination, like a getaway to Europe. So thanks for the very interesting question, because to us, as like the whole continent, for us it's obvious that Europe counts, but it's definitely interesting to raise the question. So thanks for that question.
Thank you very much. Well, probably we can touch upon the more details about the Viva Technology, which is a really, really big event. I was there in June this year, and I heard that you guys have like 120,000 visitors. It's nearly 10 times bigger than COMEUP. So I was really overwhelmed. So I'm going to touch upon a little more detail about how Viva Technology has grown up. But before moving on that question, I just come up with this question, which was not actually arranged before. But I mean, as you already have seen in this area, you also have seen a lot of big presence from the Middle Eastern country here, like the Saudi Arabia, the UAE, big there. And then they also argued that the Middle East is a really good area for the Korean startups to go global, because also they have the nearby market just like Europe. It's really vice versa about what you're saying. So perhaps I can see some kind of competition between like the European continent and also some kind of Middle East country in terms of like opportunity they can provide to any other country outside of this region who can think about global expansion. Also, please come to Dubai, please come to Riyadh. This is a really connection area that you can actually expand to nearby markets. So do you feel some kind of competition with these days? And also, how do you see this mechanism or the dynamics between Europe and also Middle Eastern area in terms of global opportunity?
Yeah, interesting. Maybe some people see indeed, the Saudi region as a competitor, especially with like the high level of funding available there. But I feel like we complement each other, and and our role is really to sustain our local startup ecosystem. And if that means helping our ecosystem going global and going to Saudi, to expand and make business. I feel like it's fair enough. It's our role to support and to make sure our startup scene can expand and make business globally. So in any parts of the globe, if I would say.
Okay, right. Okay, so let's move to a little bit of a question about VIVA technology here. Well, actually, we are proud to have a sign on MOU with VIVA Technology. So actually this year, it come up and VIVA Technology signed an MOU, and I was there. It was a really, really great experience for me. And also South Korea was selected as the country of the year in the VIVA Tech this year. So also Mrs. Lee Young, the Minister of SMEs and Startups, were also invited there. And then, but I was always curious why the France and the VIVA Tech are really interested in Korean startup ecosystem and scene. And then, what did you see and what did you find, about the Korean startup ecosystem? Why the European startup ecosystem is interested in Korean startup scene?
So first, not sure but there is like a key mania in France and also in Europe. It's all about food, K-pop, entertainment. So, and I will say that it's becoming the same with the tech and digital scene. And we look at Korea as, really the most attractive startup and tech ecosystem in Asia. So this is also the reason why we want to connect with Korea. And I feel like, the feeling that we have is that Korea is maybe looking at more to Silicon Valley and China than Europe. But it's always better to have a third friend and not to be stuck in two friendships. So so I feel like collaboration between two major events like COMEUP and VIVA Tech is definitely key. And we're not competitors. We should complement each other because, like I said earlier, our role is to sustain our local startup ecosystem, and we definitely be stronger together because we can bring like opportunities to each ecosystem only if we partner. And so I was thinking that and all the team at VIVA Tech think that we can build like joint programs and exchange startups. So, for instance, startups who come to VIVA Tech could come to COMEUP could come to VIVA Tech, and vice versa. And yes, all startups should expand and think global. And I feel like events like COMEUP or VIVA Tech can be definitely great business platform to help startups connect with new territories and make the right connections to expand there.
Maybe in a little bit more detail about what you're talking about, the opportunity for startups to go to VIVA Technology. Going to the VIVA Technologies and then any other foreign startup event and then showcasing their technologies is always a good opportunity. But what are the next? Do you have any interesting example of any startups who actually joined the VIVA Tech and actually leverage that opportunity to get, for example, follow-on funding or really actually establishing their offices in the European market? And do you have a really kind of business cases that you can share with us about any startups or companies who participate in VIVA Technology and some kind of follow-up results?
Yeah, of course. So every year we have so many great stories of startups succeeding at thanks to VIVA Tech. I will say that what makes VIVA Tech different is the strong presence of corporate players. And actually, I have a few examples of startups who really succeed at VIVA Tech this year, and they are Korean. Because the story. We have we have welcomed several Korean startups at VIVA Tech this year, and they signed a MOU with big corporate players from France, such as LVMH, L'Oréal, and JC Deco. So it's definitely, VivaTech is the place where you can meet with, the best decision makers from corporate groups, also best decision maker from public sectors, and also best investors. What we see also, it's not only about signing partnerships there. It's also about initiating first conversation with decision makers from corporates. And I don't know about Korea, but I know in Europe it's really difficult to partner with large corporate groups because it's like so many decision makers that you need to identify first. So it takes time to do the mapping, to understand like who are the decision makers, and then to connect to everyone, and then to work on your influence inside the corporate, which makes the sales cycle very long. When you decide to approach corporates as your potential customers. And so I will say that VivaTech is definitely like a platform that helps you accelerate in that case, because you can connect and meet with all the decision makers from every corporate, you see. So it's not only about signing partnership, it's also about generating leads. Startups, who come at VivaTech, they all tell us that they live with very interesting business outcomes, such as generating leads for the year. Some of them are telling us that the leads that they generate at VivaTech corresponds to 50% of their yearly leads. Imagine, it's so much.
Wow, yeah. Also, if I understood correctly, basically Viva Technology is a platform where startups can actually network with the core decision makers from the corporates, which is always difficult for any startups who wants to reach out, right? Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit of secrets after this session so that we can also do the same thing. Maybe we can a little bit move on to the question about your role. So I think that you were newly assigned as a chief ecosystem officer, and the short word is like the CEO, saying, right? So what does it mean? I mean, what is the role of a chief ecosystem officer? So tell me a little bit about your role and your responsibility.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, so my mission is really to build a great value proposition for startups, investors, and corporate innovation coming to VivaTech. So what does it mean? That means first to create the best conditions and formats for those players to make the right connections at VivaTech, but also to make business at VivaTech. Our role is to be like a business acceleration platform for those players. And so actually this is what we do with the startup challenges that we organize with the corporate. Maybe I should say a few words about that later on. But also the awards, the investors program, the startups program. My mission is also with my team, I'm not on my own, to contribute to the growth strategy of VivaTech on the startup segment and the investor segment. So that means to make sure that every year we attract even more startups, more investors at the event. And this is what we do through collaborating with local ecosystem players in different parts of the world, and also with what we call a tech tour. So every year, every month, we go to a new destination, a new tech hub, that can be anywhere in the world, and we organize meetup with investors, meetups with startups to raise VivaTech's awareness and make sure that all tech players know about our existence, if I can say. And but particularly my mission this year, I really joined VivaTech to make sure startups are at the center of the event, because after all, innovation come from startups, not from corporates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really want to make sure that at next edition, startups are definitely at the center of the event, and this is what we are building through new initiatives that we are launching with my team, such as one day dedicated to startup. I mean, like through content, we'll have like a startup academy for one day long, where the idea is to tackle not aspirational topics, but more like business-focused topics for startups to live at the end of the day with key takeaways they can apply to their business. You see, so more in an educational approach, if I can say. And also this year, we'll have a lounge dedicated to founders only, because I feel like it's important for founders to connect with other founders when coming to VivaTech, because you learn so much from other entrepreneurs who went through different stages of the business where you have not been yet. You see, so yes. So really, the idea is also to make sure that founders can connect with their peers this year. You see?
Yeah, right. And so I think the chief ecosystem officer has to do everything, about expansion of the Viva technology and all other, global ecosystem there. So basically, you keep emphasizing the importance of startups in this innovation area, and also we believe that. So basically, same. In the COMEUP, we also would like to create a lot of opportunities as many as possible for startups to explore in terms of their growth, right? So basically, what I actually am learning these days from startup is that, well, so far, domestic market in South Korea, it's kind of a big, for them grow, and now they realize that, and okay, so we have to go global in order to grow really, in a really significant growth. So basically, that's why a lot of Korean startups these days are really looking for the opportunity for global expansion. But again, coming back to the question about the European market, but as you said, overall in Europe, the population, 700,000 units. Yeah, 700,000, which is much bigger than U.S. market. But European market is really divided. All different countries are using different, languages. So, for example, if I have an opportunity to participate in Viva technology and some maybe make an office in Paris, but how do you manage all this, the language and cultural differences when you think about European market? I think there is some kind of questions that I also got a lot from the other Korean startups. So, yeah.
No, that's a good question. So first of all, in Europe, everyone speaks English.
Oh, really?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone, it's relatively everyone.
yeah. So even French people, right?
Yeah. No, but that's true that, if you want to enter the French market or the German or the Spanish or Italian market, you will need to deal with new languages for sure. You will have to adapt your product to the specific region and language. But actually, what we see with the scale-up coming to Europe is that, the whole, how can I say, they all rely on people who live there, So the first things you do usually is that, you hire a country manager who is from there, who know the language, who know the country, who know the regulations, who know the market. And then, it's not so hard to enter the market, because you can definitely rely on people who live there. You see, but that means to give your confidence to those people you were not part of your company before, and who will represent your company on the ground. So.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So adding to those questions, I've just come up with my curiosity here. It might be my really ignorant stereotype, but actually, last time I visited Paris to participate in Viva Technology, there are some Korean entrepreneurs who actually established their business in Paris. And then they're actually dealing with also French people, and then et cetera, et cetera. And then, basically, Korean people are too much hardworking guys. They work like 12 hours and 14 hours, even 16 hours or something. And then again, it might be my stereotype, right? So you guys actually really keep it very important to keep your working hours like 9 to 6, or like or what about some kind of their we call it work and life balance, those kind of also like long vacation. It's completely different from actually the culture that we are accustomed to. Of course, I really envy that kind of culture. But is there any really tip and advice that you can provide to Korean startups when they are dealing with the local people?
I think there is like a bit of stereotype.
Yeah,
in there.
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Definitely, because so for the holidays, you're right. That's true that we have like 25 days a year. What about you in Korea?
What would you say?
25 holidays.
25 holidays.
Yes,
Well, it
in
depends.
France.
It depends. In legally, like 15 days or something.
Okay. So we get more for sure. But it doesn't mean, that we're not connected to our emails and stuff like this, when we go on holidays. And when it comes to the hours, honestly, if you look at the top execs or people, who are really like involved in their daily job, it's, we don't leave the office at 5. And plus, with the the new way of working, with the future of work, you can work from everywhere. So, I personally work evenings at home because it's a new job also. So, when you get into a new job, you need to work more than, after like 2 or 3 years at the same role. And so, yes, of course, you will find some people who will stop working at 6 p.m. and go home, and you see. But also many people are really like involved and committed and work more hours. And actually, it's not the number of hours that matter. It's like, the results, if I can say. So, if you can get results by working 30 hours a week, good for you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. All right. Okay. So.
But I think we have now like a more Anglo-Saxon approach, at work than we used to have like 20 years ago.
All right. Okay. So we have to summarize here. So in the summary, so Europe is a definitely attractive and competitive market in terms of the market size, in terms of opportunity, in terms of the networking side, etc. And also so doing your business alongside with the living in the European countries. This is a really beautiful thing. So we strongly encourage all these Korean startups to go abroad. When they think about going abroad strategy, Europe should be one of the options, right? Okay.
Yeah. Can I conclude with one
yes,
thing I want
please.
to share?
Yes.
Yeah.
One really last conclusion.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
No, because at VivaTech we run startup challenges with corporates. So meaning that we have corporates who come to us, and we run call for entries for them to help them source and scout some relevant innovation that can answer their business needs or business techs. And for instance, this year we ran 50 challenges for LVMH, Orange, Total Energies, BNP Paribas, etc., etc. And so the first challenges that we'll run this year will open at the end of this month. So I really encourage you to apply, because those corporates really come to find new startups they can build partnership with. So it's definitely like a great opportunity for you also to apply and maybe come to VivaTech to exhibit with those
awesome.
corporates and build partnerships.
Great, thank you very much. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
we have to really finish here. So thank you very much for the big applause for Olivia. Thank you.
Thank you.